Notice, in accordance with the new copyright regulations, this episode of Quoth the Raven is intended for ages 16 and up. Some of the content will feature is sometimes kid friendly. The context of the episode is to address adults and inform them of said content for them to research as consumers in service of their youth. In other words, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, teachers, librarians, etc. There is the possibility of adult languages present on the episode as well. Rated TV 16 and up. And you guys can't see what's going on right now. I've got a little monster with me today. But anyway, welcome once again to another edition of Quoth the Raven, Lewis by Raven. I'm your host, Lewis by Raven, 29-year writer, editor, and artist in comics, science fiction, fantasy, horror, and role-playing games. And it's supposed to be a roundtable discussion. And I don't know if my guests are going to come on or not. But I do have a guest here in my lap. So I guess we'll show him off real quick. Here he is. He doesn't really want to be seen, but he's always in my lap, wanting attention. He had a rough day today, I guess. I don't know why he had a rough day, but he did. I guess because we left earlier to go get some stuff taken care of. But you want to stay off camera, don't you? Well, if you want to stay off camera, you got to let me do my job, kitty. So there you go. There's your guest appearance for midnight. That's better. Alrighty. So, let's go ahead and talk about the Eisners a little bit. This year's episode ran, shouldn't say it ran, this year's awards were announced on the 23rd of July, so about a week ago. We got John Miller's in the house. Hey, John. Nice to see you. Wasn't sure you're going to be on. Figured you'd probably be off doing rehearsals for your plays, but nice to have a night off. Let me get my computer to do what it's supposed to do here. There we go. So here we go. The Eisner Awards, heralding the best of the American comics book industry, they held their ceremony on July 23rd. I'm going to discuss my thoughts on the nominees, who won, who I think should have won based on my own knowledge. To be fair, there were a lot of works that were nominated this year that I didn't read, so that knowledge is not as thorough as it has been in the past. But I will try to be fair and as comprehensive in my considerations as possible. And, of course, Mark Andrew Smith's also in the house. How you doing? I didn't like the winners this year in a lot of categories. The other nominees were better choices, in my opinion, but we'll talk about that more as we go along through the list. There were books I didn't realize qualified for this year's awards, and I'll explain when we get to that as well. But it's kind of a busy thing. Hopefully someone will show up in the chat. Not in the chat, I should say, in the back room, the invitees, so we can have more than just my opinion on these awards. There's been several people who have not gotten back to me just yet as to what's going on. So maybe they'll pop in, maybe they won't. We'll see. Anyway, for each category, we will have the list of the people who are nominated. The winner will be first in light blue text. If I agree, then there'll be just that. If I don't agree and think another nominee should have won, then I'll have that nominee highlighted in green text, maybe that shade or a little bit lighter shade of green text, like so. Hopefully that will make things clearer for everyone as I discuss topics. Ready? I hope you all are, because here we go. Our first category is in the category of Best Short Story. The winner was When the Menopausal Carnival Comes to Town by Mimi Pond and Menopause, a Comic Treatment. That was an anthology book by Graphic Medicine and Pennsylvania State University Press. The other nominees were Garden Boys by Henry McSullen and Now Number 8 from Fantagraphics. I Needed the Discounts by Connor Williamson in the New York Times from January 3rd, 2020. Parts of Us by Chan Chow and Elements Earth, a Comics Anthology by Creators of Color from Ascend Press. Rookie, the short story by Greg Rucka and Eduardo Rizzo in Detective Comics 1027 from DC. And Soft Lead by Chan Chow on his website, chanchowart.com/comics #softlet. Now, my main reason for, I'm not saying that Mimi Pond didn't deserve it. Okay, we'll get into this. But my main reason for choosing Parts of Us over When the Menopausal Carnival Comes to Town is because if Child gets a double nomination in the category, that means they did better than everyone else who was nominated. So you pick one of the stories that you think is stronger between those two to win. That's just how I do things when I think about these type of nominations, which is exactly the opposite of how everybody else thinks, I think. But regardless, the one I thought was the better of the two stories in those was Parts of Us. Now, that having been said, I don't think it was a weak nominee. I would argue that Rookie, while it may have deserved a nomination, was the least worthy of the nominees, and it was largely added because of the names attached to the story. But, okay. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'll get it back here in a second. There we go. But that being said, I think the main reason I preferred the Chow story for the elements on Earth there, menopause, that whole menopausal storyline, that whole book is a little bit. It's a good collection, but it's I don't know. Maybe it's not as universally appealing to everyone. I guess comparative. I was thinking as compared to the Parts of Us storyline, and that's why I went with Chan Chow as well. But as far as Mimi Pond winning, I don't have a problem with it. It was just that, like I said, I would go with Chow because if you get two nominations, you should get the nod somehow. Just my opinion. So that's that category. In the category of the best single issue, the winner was Sports is Hell by Ben Passmore by Koyama Press. The other nominees were The Burning Hotel by Thomas Lampion from Bird's Cage Bottom Books, Hydra by Jesse Lonergan from Image, The Other History of the DC Universe #1 by John Ridley and Giuseppe Camuncoli, I hope I pronounced that correctly, from DC, and I gave my nomination to Stan Lee's Ghost, Halloween Adventure by Jeff Balke, Paul Story, and Dave Alvarez from Storm Kids. Again, I don't have an issue with Passmore winning. It was a good series good issue for what was given. I'm very glad The Other History of the DC Universe didn't win because honestly, that book is vastly overrated. And I think it would have been just another SJW nod that would have caused more consternation than it's worth among the industry and fandom alike. That's largely because it's really just not that great. I mean, it's just one more. It's The Other History. Okay, whatever. A nomination was enough, and I just don't know. I don't know if it even really deserved a nomination, but I'm also not going to dismiss it out of turn just because I'm not keen on that particular work. But as far as the overall body of works listed here, the one I liked the best was Stanley's Ghost. So that's the one I gave my nomination to. And there's a lot more to go. Let's go on to the next category. Best continuing series. The one that won was Usagi Yojimbo by Stan Sakai. I think we all know that I'm down with that, but I had to list another book here as well. Bitterroot by David F. Walker. Chuck Brown and Sanford Green from Image. Was not another nominee. Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto from Marvel. As you can see, there's some asterisks by that. The Department of Truth by James Tinian and Martin Simmons from Image. Gideon Falls by Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino from Image. And Stillwater by Chip Zdarsky and Ramon K. Perez from Image Skybound. Okay. Given that I just told you if somebody gets nominated twice, 2 different nominations in the same category, they should be given the award. I kind of I have to give one of those 2 books from Chip Zdarsky the nod. It's only fair. I can't be hypocritical and say that. It doesn't apply because I like Usagi Yojimbo better, even though I do. I have to be honest and have to be fair and consistent in my logic. So between Daredevil and Stillwater, I picked Daredevil. And I probably wouldn't have even argued against Bitterroot, given that all 3 of the creators in there are friends of mine, and 2 of them live here in Columbia, South Carolina, Chuck and Sanford. I'm happy that they got nominated again. I wouldn't have even complained if Gibeon Falls had won. But again, if I'm going to be consistent with my own rules, my own logic, Zdarsky should get the nod. Since I haven't read any Stillwater, that leaves Daredevil by default. And the truth is, the Daredevil storyline that he's been doing with Elektra as Daredevil, while Matt's sitting in jail, has been above average storytelling. So everybody's thinking, holy shit, did the Raven just acknowledge a Marvel book as deserving of an Eisner? What's going on? Who is this person? Where's the real Raven? But yeah, it is worthy. And people, the sorry hypocrites out there who say I don't give Marvel any credit, well, I just fooled you, didn't I? So that's our next category is Best Limited Series. The winner was Superman's Pal, Jimmy Olsen by Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber from DC. The other nominees were Barbalian, Red Planet by Jeff Lemire, Tate Bomb Brawl and Gabriel Hernandez Walta from Dark Horse, Decorum by Jonathan Hickman and Mike Huddleston from Image, Far Sector by Nora K. Jemisin or N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell from DC Young Animal, Strange Adventures by Tom King, Mitch Gerards, and Evan Doc Sheener, which is DC Black Label, and We Live by Anaki Miranda and Roy Miranda from Aftershock. Yeah. While I respect Steve Lieber, I've known Steve for, over 25 years. There's no way in hell that Fraction deserved this award amidst the level of competition that's in this category. My best guess is that Far Sector didn't win because it wasn't concluded by the time the voting was done. I don't know. I mean, Jessamine blew away everything else in this category as far as storytelling goes. I can see why Strange Adventures didn't get the nod. The story ending is crap. And King could have told this story in half of the number of issues, as I've said, as I've reviewed the miniseries throughout the past year. And I can also see why We Live didn't get the nod. The ending of the miniseries was not a true ending and leads into a continuation of an ongoing series, which that sort of red herring really hurt my opinion of the series when I reviewed it earlier this year. So I suspect that others might have felt the same way. Decorum, bleh. Sorry. So I have to go with Far Sector, 1,000%, far and away on this. But it's just how I look at it. I'm happy that Far Sector got nominated, but I almost kind of wish it didn't get nominated this year, and they had waited until the series was completed and put it on for next year's limited series instead. But I don't know. I just wish Far Sector had won. Our next category is in the Best New Series. The winner was Black Widow by Kelly Thompson and Elena Casagrande from Marvel. Crossover by Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw from Image. The Department of Truth by James Tynion IV and Martin Simmons from Image. Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes and Jason Shawn Alexander from Image. And We Only Find Them When They're Dead by Al Ewing and Simone DeMeo from Boom Studios, with the 3 asterisks again. I got to be completely honest. The only series of these groups that I've read is We Only Find Them When They're Dead. So it kind of wins the category for me by default. And if you remember my reviews, I wasn't particularly keen on this series. Am I okay with Kelly Thompson and Elena Casagrande winning? Truthfully, not really. Kelly Thompson just doesn't appeal to me that much as a Marvel writer at all. And I feel really bad saying that because Kelly Thompson, the person, is a really sweet person, really cool individual. I just have never liked her Marvel writing, and I never will, unfortunately. So this is just an off category for me, as I really don't think much about any of these miniseries, or any of the nominees, rather. But I bet a lot of people would argue for Philadelphia or Department of Truth over Black Widow as well. So, it is what it is. I think that they're trying a little bit too hard with some of the wins on this to go, I don't want to say SJW, but at least not all white males, on the winners. In the category of the best publication for early readers up to age 8, the winner was Our Little Kitchen by Gillian Tamaki, published by Abram Books for young readers. Bear by Ben Queen and Joe Todd Stanton by Archaea Boom. Cat Kid Comic Club by Dave Pilkey from Scholastic Graphics. Donut Feed the Squirrels by Micah Song from Random House Graphic, Random House Children's Books. Cody by Jared Kellum from Top Shelf, and Lift by Min Lei and Dan Santat from Little Brown Young Readers were the other nominees, and I would have picked Cody by Jared Kellum from Top Shelf. I haven't read Our Little Kitchen or Lift, so I have read the other ones. I did read Bear, Cat Kid, Comic Club, and Donut Feed the Squirrels. And of course, I have read Cody, and I really feel like Cody got robbed here. But I suspect that Tamaki won because she's received a solid record of prior nominations and awards for her prior work. And if she didn't have that kind of like that legacy already, I think Cody would have won. But I think her notoriety preceded her, I guess, in this. I am somewhat surprised that voters didn't confuse her, however, with her cousin Mariko Tamaki and crap all over her in this category, given the rather controversial stuff that her cousin's been doing over at DC. Her cousin Mariko is the one that's doing the social media penned I Am Not Starfire book about Starfire's daughter who looks like a pudgy raven that just came out, and looks like a teenage version of Mariko Tamaki to boot. So, I'm kind of surprised that didn't kind of backfire on Jillian a little bit by association. It would have been wrong for it to do so, but we live in a very petty society today, and I would not have been surprised if that had happened. But I would have gone with Cody in the end, no question. Yes, John is exhausted as well. He's been rehearsing a ton for Rock of Ages, which his group performs next weekend. And of course, Mark is working a ton as well, waking up at 5 a.m. And I appreciate both you gentlemen for being here and watching the show. Let's go on to the next category. Best publication for kids ages 9 through 12. The winner was Superman Smashes the Klan by Jane Lewin Yang and Guri Hiru from DC. The other nominees were Twins by Varian Johnson and Sharon Wright from Scholastic Graphics, Doodleville by Chad Sell by Knopf, BFYR, and Random House Children's Books, Go With the Flow by Lily Williams and Karen Schneeman from First Second Macmillan, Mr. Invincible Local Hero by Pascal Juseline, by Magnetic Press, and Snapdragon from Kat Lee, also published by First Second and Macmillan. My thoughts are screw Superman. I'm sorry. It was overrated, social justice warrior trash, as far as I'm concerned. It won because it's the most high profile and largely read the nominees and nothing more. Almost every other one of these books is better than Superman. I'm sorry. It just is. Personally, I would have gone with either Snapdragon by Kat Lee or Twins by Johnson and Wright. I happen to prefer Lee's story overall, so that's the one that got green lit, as it were, for me. I just really, I understand why Superman Smashes the Klan. Like I said, it's the most high-profile book, but it's just so, I don't know. I mean, it's what people want, I guess, these days. They want to be, let's beat up the let's be social justice warriors. I don't know. It's just blah. Snapdragon was a much better story overall. It was a coming of age story uh, about a girl who meets an old woman that everybody thinks is a witch, and this it's about growing into puberty and also becoming friends and accepting other people and stuff like that. Much better story overall. In the category of best publication for teens ages 13 to 17, Dragon Hoops by Jin Leon Yang. First, second, Macmillan. You're going to see a pattern with him winning a lot. Check Please, Book 2, Sticks and Scones by Ngozi Okazu from first, second, Macmillan. Displacement by Kiku Hughes by first, second, Macmillan. Fights, One Boy's Triumph Over Violence by Joel Christian Gill by Oni Press. A Map to the Sun by Sloan Leong by first, second, Macmillan. And When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson Omar Muhammad from Dial Books. I picked When Stars Are Scattered. But again, here's the other reason why I told Superman Smashes the Klan to go to hell. If you're going to give Young the Nod from Dragon Hoops, fine. I don't have a problem with that. It is a worthy selection. But I think that it won because, again, it just got the most buzz, as it were. I think When Stars Are Scattered is a far and away a better story. I think Displacement's a better story, but they're much darker and sadder stories than Dragon Hoops, which is, to me, more of a feel-good high school sports story rather than the two books that have a lot more gravitas of theme and story content to them. And I picked Stars between the other two because it's more like the true life story of the author adapted. So that's why I picked When Stars Are Scattered. And if you remember, I gave When Stars Are Scattered 4.5 stars out of 5. Displacement, I gave, I believe, a 4. I didn't review Dragon Hoops on the show. I did read it. I would have given it about a 3, 3.5. Check Please, I didn't read. And Fights, I would have given a 3. Okay, now we're back to another one, repeated. In the category of Best Humor Publication, the winner was, again, Superman's Pal Jimmy Olsen by Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber. No, thank you. The other nominees were The Complete Fonte Bukowski by Noah Van Sciver from Fantagraphics, Department of Mind-Blowing Theories by Tom Gauld from Drawn Quarterly, Wendy, Master of Art by Walter Scott from Drawn and Quarterly. Then there was Fangs by Sarah Anderson, published by Andrews McNeil, and What If We Were, published by Axel Lenoir from Top Shelf. As you can see, I had a difficult time with this category. Oh, I have no problem telling DC to go to hell. You know that. But I did have a tough time trying to figure out between Fangs and What If We Were. I would have been fine with either of those two winning. Unfortunately, they didn't. But if I had to pick, if you told me, put the gun to his head, which one are you picking? I would end up picking Fangs, I guess. At least when I wrote this, I was going to pick Fangs over What If We Were. But either one, they're pretty much both quality material. In the category of Best Anthology, Menopause, A Comic Treatment, edited by M.K. Caesarwick. I hope I pronounced that right. Published by Graphic Medicine and Pennsylvania State University Press, was the winner. The other categories, or other nominees rather, were X-Mag Volumes 1 and 2, edited by Ren McDowell from P.O. Guantanamo Voices, True Accounts from the World's Most Infamous Prison, edited by Sarah Merck from Abrams Publishing. Hey Amateur, Go From Novice to Nailing It in 9 Panels, edited and curated by Shelley Bond, published by IDW and Black Crown. The Los Angeles Times, edited by Sammy Hurricum, published by Network. And Now, edited by Eric Reynolds, published by Fantagraphics. Frankly, this is a lousy category. I think the judges dropped the ball completely. I could have named a bunch of different, I would have a completely different list of anthologies for this. But out of the ones they nominated, It had to be either menopause or amateur. And as much as I appreciate Shelley Bond, I think she's a great editor. I don't know. I just felt like menopause was the stronger piece, so I went ahead and said I agreed with menopause being the winner of the ones that were nominated. Um, but I would have given the Eisner to Broken Frontier, which was edited by Tyler Gintner, um, published by A Wave Blue World. And I would have also nominated probably. Oh shoot, I don't remember the other two that I would have nominated off the top of my head. I apologize. I sure wrote those down, but there was two other books I would have nominated instead, and I wouldn't have had Los Angeles Times, and I probably wouldn't have had X-Mag in there if I had to replace my two with two out of those that were nominated. I would have gone with Broken Frontier and given that the win, and two others. In the category of Best Reality-Based Work, the winner was Kent State for Dead No How by Durf Backdurf from Abrams. The other nominees were Big Black, Stand to Attica by Frank Big Black Smith, Jared Remuth and Amaziane from Archaea Boom. Dragon Hoops got nominated again. Jean Lun Yang, surprised it didn't win. Invisible Differences, a story of Asperger's, adulting, and living a life in full color by Mademoiselle Caroline and Julie Dashez, translation by Edward Govin from Oni Press. Paying the Land by Joe Sacco from Metropolitan Henry Holt Publishing, and You're the Rabbit by Tien Yasna, translation by Helgi Dasher, published by Drawn Quarterly. I'm okay with Kent State winning. I would have been okay with Invisible Differences winning. I would have been okay with You're the Rabbit winning, to be honest. I'm just glad Dragon Hoops didn't win. Because, again, I just felt like he got nominated way too much this year. In the category of Best Graphic Memoir, the winner was The Loneliness of the Long Distance Cartoonist by Adrian Tomine, by Drawn Quarterly. The other nominees were Banned Book Club by Kim Hyun-suk, Ryan Estrada, and Ko Hyung-yu from Iron Circus. Dancing After 10, a graphic memoir by Vivian Chong and Georgia Weber from Fantagraphics. Ginseng Roots by Craig Thompson from Uncivilized Books. I Don't Know How to Give Birth by Ayami Kazama, translated by Julie Gonowich from Yum Press. And When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed from Dial Books. There were almost all these were worthy. I definitely would not have gone with Tomine, however. I consider his work highly overrated. And again, it's like kind of it was the buzz book more than anything else. I probably would have voted for Ginseng Roots because I already would have given Stars Are Scattered the win in an earlier category. We talked about that a little bit ago. But either one of those, Ginseng or The Stars Are Scattered, should have won this, in my opinion. In the category of Best Graphic Album, New, the winner was Pulp by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips from Image. The other nominees were The Book Tour by Andy Watts from Top Shelf, Dragman by Stephen Appleby by Metropolitan, Flake by Matthew Dooley published by Jonathan Cape, Labyrinth, by Ben Argon, published by Abrams, and Paul at Home by Michael Rabagliate, translation by Helge Dasher and Rob Aspinall, published by Drawn Quarterly. Again, this is like a buzz book, best known book win for Brubaker and Phillips. I did not see The Book Tour offhand. I read Flake, wasn't really into it. I did not see Paul at Home. I read part of Labyrinth, couldn't really get into that one either. So that leaves Dragman for me. Dragman was hard to find. I had to special order it. And it didn't come, and it didn't come, and it didn't come because Diamond kept screwing it up, and I finally got it. And it was the most unique of the books, at least, I guess. Because pulp, I mean, we've seen Brubaker and Sean Phillips do that sort of thing uh, regularly for years now with what they do. And don't get me wrong, they do it excellently. They're known for it. So it's kind of like giving a nod for something they've already done, as opposed to something new and fresh, I guess. And that's more or less why I would go ahead and pick Dragman over Pulp. But Pulp isn't a bad choice by any means, and I don't mind that it won. In the category of Best Graphic Album Reprint, the winner was Seeds and Stands by Simon Hanselman from Pentagraphics. And the other nominees were Black Hammer Library Edition Volume 2 by Jefferson Meyer, Dean Ormstom, Amy Lennox, and Rich Tommaso from Dark Horse. The Deluxe Edition of Criminal Volume 3 by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips from Image. There we go again. Eight Lane Runaways by Henry McSallen from Fantagraphics, Fonte Butkowski, The Complete Works by Noah Van Sciver from Fantagraphics, and Hero Bear and the Kid, The Heritage by Mike Kunkel from Astonish Factory. Truth is, I didn't read any of these, so I don't have much of an opinion, so I had to stick with who was the winner. But I would guess that John Norris would pick Hero Bear and the Kid, and I probably, if I had actually seen the Hero Bear and the Kid and book and I thought it was well packaged, I probably would have gone there. But because I do remember the series of Hero Bear and the Kid and I liked it, but not having seen it, I really can't say. Yeah, that was kind of like a given. I'm just being polite. I would guess. No, I knew you'd pick that one. In the category of Best Adaptation from Another Medium, again, the winner was Superman Smashes the Clam, adapted by Jin Myung Yang and Gary Hiro. The other nominations were Constitution Illustrated by R. Sicker Yak from Drawing Quarterly, Parable of the Sower, the graphic novel adaptation by Octavia E. Butler, adapted by Damien Duffy and John Jennings, published by Abrams. Sapiens, A Graphic History, The Birth of Humankind, Volume 1, adapted by Yuval Noah Harari, David Vandermeulen, and Daniel Casanave, published by Harper Perennial, and Slaughterhouse 5, originally written by Kurt Vonnegut, adapted by Ryan North and Albert Montez, published by RKO Boom. I just got Parable last week, or last week is when I was writing these up. So I haven't actually read it and reviewed it, but I know the original prose fiction story, and I know it's a hell of a lot better story than Superman Smashes the Klan, so that's kind of a given. I was a little bit surprised that it was actually nominated, though, but I didn't realize that the book I got was kind of like a re-release of it. I thought it was a brand new release and it was going to be for like next year's category. So, but the fact that it's even here, it's like that's a given. It's like that's the best one. If there was one next to it, it'd been Slaughterhouse 5. Superman had zero business being in this category, let alone winning it. Again, we got to have the one that the common folk that know about and can relate to, I guess. But whatever. In the category of Best U.S. Edition of International Material, the winner was Goblin Girl by Moa Romanova, translation by Melissa Bowers from Fantagraphics. And the other nominees were Altitude by Olivier Roquet and Jean-Marc Rochette, or Rocher, I don't know, it's French. Translation by Edward Govin, self-made hero publisher. Gamayan Tales 1, an anthology of modern Russian folk tales by Alexander Utkin, translation by Lada Zova by Nobrow Publishing, Arena Books 2 and 3 by John David Marvan, Severine Trefuel, and David Ervrard. Translation by Dan Christensen, published by Magnetic Press. When You Look Up by Decour, translation by Chloe Garcia Roberts, Enchanted Lion Books. And Winter of the Cartoonist by Paco Roca, translation by Andrea Rosenberg from Fantagraphics. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I haven't seen any of this material. I don't have enough resources to acquire everything, and nor the time to read everything that's out there, unfortunately. I wish I did. So I'm kind of completely lost on this one. I'll just, accept the winner for what it is. But that's one of the things about the Eisners. They do come up with some of these things that you haven't heard of, and I don't even remember seeing any of this stuff even solicited in the Diamond catalog. So it's kind of weird to me, but I could very easily have missed some of this stuff because I go through Fantagraphics, but it doesn't always register with me because I look for certain things from Fantagraphics and other things just go over my head. I'm going to be honest about it. And Magnetic Press, I've bought some stuff from Magnetic Press, but I don't remember seeing that stuff. In the category of Best U.S. Edition of International Material from Asia, notice that there's two categories. Asian books get their own category. Everybody else gets. I kind of wish that there was a European market, an Asian market, a South American market in that respect. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the show. But the winner was Rumina by Junji Ito, translation by Jocelyn Allen from Viz Media. The other nominees were I Had That Same Dream Again by Yuro Sumino and Adumi Kirihara, translation by Benny Axia Conrad from Seven Seas Publishing. I Wish I Could Say Thank You by Yukari Takanami, translation by Yukari Takeuchi from Fanfare Ponent Mon. A Journal of My Father by Jiro Taniguchi, translation by Kumar Siva Subramanian. That's a heck of a last name. Fanfare Ponent Mon. Ping Pong Volumes 1 and 2 by Taiyo Matsumoto, translation by Michael Arias from Viz Media. And Spy Times Family, Volumes 1 to 3 by Tatsuyo Endo, translation by Casey Lowe, Viz Media. The truth is, again, I'm really not that familiar with most of these works. The only one I've actually read was I Had That Same Dream Again, so that won my vote by default. There just isn't a whole lot of manga exposure in my area here in Colombia, and what little that I do see is usually the series stuff like Naruto and One Piece and Dragon Ball Z and Attack on Titan and that stuff, as opposed to the real diversity that is manga. So I apologize for my unfamiliarity to the other nominees, and I apologize to the viewers because I can't read and know about everything. Our next category is in the category of Best Archival Collection and Project, comic strips. The winner was The Flapper Queens, Women Cartoonists of the Jazz Age, edited by Trina Robbins from Fantagraphics. The other nominations were Gross Exaggerations, The Meshuggah Comic Strips of Milt Gross, by Milt Gross, edited by Peter Mariska, published by Sunday Press and IDW. Crazy and Ignatz from 1919 to 1921 by George Harriman, edited by R.J. Casey from Fantagraphics. Little Debbie and the Second Coming of Elmo, the daily comic strips from August 1960 to September of 61 by Cecil Jensen, edited by Frank Young, published by Labor of Love. Pogo, the Complete Syndicated Comic Strips, Volume 7, Pockets Full of Pie by Walt Kelly, edited by Mark Evanier and Eric Reynolds, published by Fantagraphics. This is a very solid category of nominees, and I think the right book won in the end in terms of uniqueness and historical significance to the industry. But I have to admit that I think people are getting annoyed that Pogo keeps being nominated and not winning. They've been nominated 5 times out of 7 volumes. They've never won the Eisner for this category. And I just kind of wonder, Does this mean that when they get done with the 12-volume run, that they're going to give the entire series a special Eisner as a whole body of work upon completion? Or what are they going to do? Because obviously Pogo is one of the most influential comic strips that we've got in history. It deserves an Eisner. So I'm a little bit perplexed as what the thought process is on that. I'm beginning, I think they're going to wait until all 12 are in and maybe give it to the 12th issue or 12th volume, or they're going to do it as a special Eisner for the whole body of work or something, because maybe they don't want to give like one volume and not the others. I don't know. It's just a weird situation there. In the category of Best Archival Collection, Project Comic Books, the winner was The Complete Hate by Peter Bagg, edited by Eric Reynolds from Fantagraphics. The other nominees were Art Young's Inferno by Art Young, edited by Glenn Bray from Fantagraphics, Atlas at War, edited by Michael J. Vasello from Dead Reckoning, Corto Maltese, The Ballad of the Salty Sea by Hugo Pratt, translation by D. Mulaney and Simone Castaldi, published by Eurocomics IDW, Little Lulu, The Fuzzy Thing is Poopy, by John Stanley, edited by Frank Young and Tom Devlin, published by Drawn Quarterly, and then Man and Superman and Other Stories by Harvey Kurtzman, edited by J. Michael Catron, published by Fantagraphics. My thoughts are, I understand why, and I'm not surprised whatsoever that Bagg won the category. It is really, mostly because it's just a complete run of everything Bagg did with that series. But personally, from my tastes and what I like to read, I thought Corto Maltese was the better story, better comic. But this is just one story of Corto Maltese versus the entire body of work of Hate, so I get it. The other stuff, they're all worthy nominations, but none of it really spoke to me enough to really get into them. In the category of Best Writer, here we get to the fun stuff. The winner was James Tynion IV for Something is Killing the Children and Wind from Boom Studios, Batman from DC, Department of Truth and Image, and Razor Blades by Tiny Onion. The other nominees, Ed Brubaker for Pulp, Reckless from Image, and Friday for the Panel Syndicate, Matt Fraction for Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen from DC, Adventureman in November, Volumes 2 and 3, and Sex Criminals, all from Image, Jonathan Hickman for Decorum from Image, and his Giant Size X-Men and X-Men from Marvel, Jeff Lemire for Barbalian, Black Hammer, Colonel Weird, Cosmogog from Dark Horse, The Question, The Death of Vic Sage from DC Black Label, Family Tree and Gideon Falls from Image, Chip Zdarsky for Stillwater and Daredevil, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. Four of these yahoos I wouldn't have even nominated. They're just overrated. Get them out of here. Tynion I can live with because of Something is Killing the Children. Has been very good. I'm really not. I've never read Wind. I'm not impressed with Batman or the Department of Truth. I've never seen Razor Blades. Didn't even hear about Razor Blades, so I don't even know anything about that one. So if I had to go with who I've read the most out of all these guys and is the most consistently solid, and I can read their stuff and not think it sucks, I have to go with Lemire out of this group of nominees. And that's because I used to read all the Black Hammer and spin-off books. And I did read the first arc of Family Tree, and I did read the Question series. So I'll be fair and say that's who I would have picked out of those nominees. But the actual winner for Best Writer this year, hands down, was N.K. Jemisin for Far Sector. I'm sorry. Just telling you how it is. In the category of Best Writer/Artist Combo, the winner was Junji Ito from Romina and Venus in the Blind Spot from Viz Media. The other nominees were Pascal Juzelin for Mr. Invincible Local Hero from Magnetic Press, Trong Le Yon Gwen, I should say, for The Magic Fish from Random House Graphic, Random House Children's Books. Craig Thompson for Ginseng Roots, Uncivilized Books. Adrian Tomine for The Loneliness of the Long Distance Cartoonist, John Cornely. And Jean Lun Yang for Dragon Hoops, for Second Macmillan. I have no problem with Junji Ito winning. Myself, I would have voted for Craig Thompson for Ginseng Roots out of these nominees. But mostly, I'm just glad that Yang did not win for the vastly overrated Dragon Hoops. I'm telling you, it's not that Dragon Hoops is a bad book. It's a good book. I just don't think that it warranted all the nominations and wins it got this year. That's all. In the category of Best Penciler and Inker or Best Penciler and Inker Team, Michael Allred won for Bowie Stardust, Ray Guns, and Moon Age Dreams from Inside Editions. The other nominees were Marco Cicchetto from Daredevil from Marvel, Jorge Corona, or George Corona from Middle West from Image, Bertrand Gadigon for Pistovi from Magnetic Press, Mitch Gerard and Evic Doc Shaner for Strange Adventures for DC Black Label, pardon me, and Sanford Green for Bitterroot from Image. And my thoughts are, well, crap. I only got the coloring book from Bowie based off his comic because that's what Diamond shipped me. I ordered the actual book. I got the coloring book. I've never actually seen the actual book. The coloring book didn't impress me much. But I'm going to just, it's Mike Allred. It's not like he's not worthy. So I really don't necessarily have a problem with it. But based on what I can go with on this, I have to go with Sanford Green. And yes, I am being somewhat biased since Sanford is a local friend. But I can't go with Strange Adventures, unfortunately. The Daredevil stuff is okay. I'm not familiar with Bertrand Gadignol's Pistovi. So, but if I had to pick, if I was going to say what was the best penciler inker person, I got to go with Walt Simonson for Ragnarok. That's just what I think is really the best, most consistent throughout that I can think of this year, or through 2020 into this year. In the category of Best Cover Artist, Peach Momoko won for Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 19, Mighty Morphin number 2, Something is Killing the Children number 12, Power Rangers number 1, all from Boom Studios. She did work for Dynamite. She did work for Marvel. She did work for Titan. She was all over the place. Other artists in the category were Jamal Campbell from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Boom Studios and Far Sector. He was also the artist for Far Sector. Simone DeMille for We Only Find Them When They're Dead from Boom. Mike Huddleston for Decorum from Image. Dave Johnson for Butcher of Paris. Vampirella, The Crow Lethe from IAW, and various Marvel variants. And Ramon K. Perez for Stillwater from Image Skybound. The cover scene is Peach Momoko's world, and everyone else is a distant afterthought right about now. No offense to any of the other people. There's no way anybody was going to beat Peach this year. This was the one that was blatantly obvious. I'm glad to see Jamal Campbell get the nomination for Far Sector. Simone DeMille, I like Simone's work, but the covers for We Only Find Them When They're Dead were crap. I'm sorry. I don't know why that got nominated at all. Decorum did not impress me. Dave Johnson certainly qualified. I'm not familiar with Perez's cover for Stillwater. So, but like I said, Peach had this hands down. In the category of Best Coloring, Laura Allred won for X-Ray Robot from Dark Horse and Bowie Stardust, Ray Guns, and Moon Age Daydreams from Inside Editions. The other category nominees were Jean-Francois Beaulieu from Middle West from Image, GP or Gippy for One Story from Fantagraphics, Marte Gracia for Empire and X of Swords from Marvel, Dave Stewart for Prometheus 13, published by Comixology. Black Hammer from Dark Horse. Gideon Falls from Image, and Spider-Man number 4 and 5 from Marvel. And Matt Wilson for Undiscovered Country from Image, Firepower from Image, Skybound, and Thor from Marvel. Since I never actually got the Bowie comic book, I didn't get to really see Laura's work on the Bowie book. I can only go by X-Ray Robot, which was nice enough work. But even if I assume that Laura's quality work was there on Bowie, was it really good enough to beat out Dave Stewart this year in terms of physical output and consistency? I don't know if she really did that this year. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just fine that she won. I think it's frankly time we just put both Laura and Dave into the Eisner Hall of Fame as colorists and like say, okay, you can't be nominated anymore for the category. We know you're the best, and let other people get nominated in this category. I really do. But, you know, okay, whatever. Either one would have been fine. In the category of best lettering, Ito is such a legend. Yeah, they are. I sorry, I missed your comment there earlier, Mark. Let me go back to that. That was for best writer artist for winning for Romina and Venus in the Blind Spot. And yes, he is a legend over in his native land. In America, I don't think very many people know who he is, unfortunately. Or, you know, they, I should say. So, anyway. Back to best lettering. Yusaki Yojimbo won. Stan Sakai. Mike Allred won for Bowie, Stardust Ray Guns and Moon Age Dreams. Again, I didn't see that one, so I don't know. Darren Bennett nominated for Bear, The Sacrifice of Darkness, both from Archaea. King of Nowhere, Something is Killing Your Children, and We Only Find Them When They're Dead from Boom Studios. He lettered Far Sector, Harley Quinn, Black and White and Red, and Martian Manhunter for DC. Excellence for Image Skybound, A Dark Interlude, Dark One, Rolex Youth, Resonance, Shadow Service, Vampire Masquerade, and Winter's Teeth from Vault. And he also lettered Ping Pong from Viz Media. Let me get my breath. Aditya Bidikar for Barb Alien Red Planet, Graffiti's Wall Expanded Edition from Dark Horse. John Constantine from the Hellblazer from DC. A Map to the Sun for First Second. Lettered The Department of Truth, Lost Soldiers for Image. Geiga and the Picture of Everything Else for Vault. Russ Wooten, who wrote lettering for Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, Decorum, and Monsters for Image. Die, Firepower, Olympian Song, Outcast, and Stillwater for Image and Skybound. And Clayton Cowles, who did lettering for Aquaman, Batman, Batman Outsider, Strange Adventures, Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen for DC, Adventure Man, Bitterroot, Bog Bodies, and Die for Image, Reaver for Image Skybounds, and Morbius and Exoswords for Marvel. My thoughts are I really don't know what to say about this. Sakai is the only letterer in this group who's legitimately a letterer. The rest are computer jockeys utilizing computer programs, as far as I know. I don't really see them showing me lettering the way lettering is. I mean, lettering is more than just the text in the balloons. Lettering is part of the art form of doing the sound effects and other things as well. And a lot of these guys just use programs for everything, and I don't know. So I think Sakai is definitely the right choice to win the award. But that flies into the face of my earlier point that creators who have multiple works that are being nominated for get precedence. So am I being a hypocrite? Maybe I am on this one. I don't know. But unless one or more of the other nominees want to show me their actual lettering design skills by hand and show me that they're actually doing like logo designs and lettering sound effect designs and stuff by hand, because all the stuff I remember seeing is just someone else using programmed fonts, and that's not lettering to me. Either you do the lettering by hand or you demonstrate actual design skills to design, logos and other things to qualify for this category. That's my expectation. And so many, like I said, everybody's using computer fonts and other people's programs, and oh well. In the category of Best Comics Related Journalism Periodical, the winner was Women Write About Comics, edited by Nola Pafau and Wendy Brown at www.womenwriteaboutcomics.com, which I've never even heard of, which kind of speaks volumes, I think, about the lack of promotion of certain things in our industry right now. The other nominees were Alter Ego, edited by Roy Thomas from Tomorrow's, Back Issue, edited by Michael Urid from Tomorrow's, The Comics Blog by Michael Kavanagh and David Betancourt at www.washingtonpost.com/entertainment/comics. The Comics Journal, edited by R.J. Casey, Christy Valiente, and Gary Groth from Fantagraphics, and Panel by Panel magazine, edited by Hassan Otsmane El How at panelbypanel.com. And the truth is, I've never even heard of half of these. I'm ecstatic that the category has no shit show sites like Bleeding Cool or Comic Book Resources in this nominee. So I'm going to give the judges, and I'm going to give everybody here a much deserved applause for getting nominated. I just wish, and I want to know why the hell I haven't heard about these online sites like Women Write About Comics. Oh my God, just a second. Midnight just fell down the stairs. He was on top of a perch and just, I guess he fell asleep and fell down the stairs. And he's okay, but a little shaken up. I don't know if you guys heard the bang clash down off the camera or not, but scared the heck out of me. Anyway, I picked Back Issue because it was the only one I was familiar with. That I regularly read as well. But like I said, why haven't I heard about these sites like Women Write About Comics and Panel by Panel? We regularly hear about the death of comics journalism and journalism in general on social media. Maybe it's alive and well, and we're just not aware of it. Maybe we need to let people know that this stuff exists and promote that stuff rather than bitch about the pseudo-journalism of Bleeding Cool and Comic Book Resources and Newsarama. Think about that. Our next category is, again, I'm not going to knock the winner. I gave Back Issue because of familiarity. We'll just go on ahead and move on to the next category. Best comic related book. That means a book about comics rather than a comics book. Invisible Men, the Trailblazing Black Artists of Comic Books by Ken Quattro from Yo Books IDW1. The other category nominees were American Daredevil, Comics, Communism, and the Battles of Lev Gleason by Brett Dakin, published by Comic House Lev Gleason. Ditko Shrugged, The Uncompromising Life of the Artist Behind Spider-Man and the Rise of Marvel Comics by David Curie from Hermes Press. Drawing Fire, the editorial cartoons of Bill Maldine, edited by Todd DePastino, published by Pritzker Military Museum and Library. The History of EC Comics by Grant Geisman from Tashkent, and Masters of British Comic Art by David Roach, published by 2000 AD. Basically, any of these books have been worthy for the Eisner. I have no problem with any of them winning. The one that won was fine, but I would probably have picked EC's History of EC Comics because that's what interests me the most out of the subject matter of the books in question. My second book would have been the British Comics Masters. But Invisible Men was interesting. So and again, in our current social times and what people are supposedly, you're supposed to be thinking about, that's, the politically correct one to pick, I guess. And that's why it won, in my opinion. In the category of the best academic and scholarly work, The Content of Our Caricature, African American Comic Art and Political Belonging by Rebecca Wanzo from New York University Press is the winner. The other nominees were Comic Art and Museums, edited by Kim A. Munson, University Press of Mississippi. Comic Studies, a guidebook, edited by Charles Hatfield and Bart Beatty from Rutgers University Press. Web Comics by Sean Kleefeld from Bloomsbury Publishing. And Who Understands Comics? Questioning Universality of Visual Language Comprehension by Neil Cohn, also published by Bloomsbury. I found that most of the other books that weren't the winners to be more interesting and engaging than the book that won. Again, I think it just won. I think that this one just won because of the importance of the Black community, and nobody wants to equally discuss the importance of our Native American, Mexican American, South American, and Asian American communities who have had far greater influence than the Black community has on the history of American comics. It's just, I'm sorry. That's why I kind of get a little bit annoyed by this all Black categories winners this year. It's a little bit much, in my opinion. I gave the book my choice. My vote went to Who Understands Comics, just because it was a much more engaging discussion on visual comprehension, and having been a teacher in using comics as a learning tool for students for English as a second language, and trying to find other tools like that. I liked what Neil had to say about that, and I think people should read that. Mark, you might want to try and find a book on that, get a copy of that book and read up on that sometime. Comic Studies, a guidebook, is okay. Comic Art and Museums is okay. Web Comics is a little bit, I don't know. It can't include everything. It's web comics. It's a strong overview, but it's just that, an overview, so to speak, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. But I definitely would have gone with Who Understands Comics. Mm-hmm. In the category of Best Publication Design, the winner was The Loneliness of the Long Distance Cartoonists by Adrian Tomine, drawn in Quarterly. Chasing the Bird, Charlie Parker in California, Deluxe Edition, designed by David Chisholm and Tyler Boss for Z2 Comics. D. Barry at 50, The Complete Digital Doonesbury by Gary B. Trudeau, or G.B. Trudeau, designed by George Curcio and Susan McCaslin for Andrews McNeil. J and K, designed by John Fenn from Fantagraphics. Original art, the Dan Clowes Studio Edition, designed by Daniel Clowes for Fantagraphics. My thoughts in terms of design, J and K is the only one that really popped out at me. and makes you take notice. My next choice has been Chasing the Bird. To me, its design is very effective on its own in terms of the context of evoking the sense of emptiness and loneliness of the cartoonists. It suits the purpose of what it's supposed to represent, but visually, it's just fucking blah. It's just a black cover with a little square with the artist at his drawing table. And comparatively, visual design to the other two, it's just not as good as Chasing the Bird or J&K, and J&K is the most dynamic. Both Loneliness and Doonesbury are just bleh. Just boring as hell, and shouldn't even have been on the nominations this year. This goes again when you're seeing books like this get nominees, it has to do with buzz or familiarity with the creator or the body of work rather than what the category represents, in my opinion. In the category of Best Digital Comic, the winner was Friday by Ed Brubaker and Marcos Martin from Panel Syndicate. The other nominees were Genius Animals by Lali Chandrasekaran. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Chandrasekaran, I'll say. And Jean-Pierre Shiozawa at geniusanimals.net. Gentle Mind by Juan Diaz Canales, Teresa Valero, and Antonio Lapone. Translation by Jeremy Malou from Europe Comics. Promethe 1313 by Andy Diggle and Sean Martinborough. That's published by Comixology Originals and Delcourt Publishing. Olive by Vero Cazot and Lucy Mazel. Translation by Jesse Offieri from Europe Comics. And Soon from Thomas Cadine and Benjamin Adam. Translation by Margaret Besser, also from Europe Comics. Almost all these, it's like Europe Comics. It's kind of interesting that they're going with digital comics all from Europe. And there's a variety of digital comics out here. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I've never heard of any of these before. I've never seen any of these before. But that's because digital comics and web comics are a different animal. And I haven't really immersed myself in the best digital comic to see what's all out there. I don't have the time and resources to explore that, unfortunately. But I also do find myself asking what the difference between a digital comic and a web comic is supposed to be, though. I am assuming that a best digital comic is a digital comic that is also published in print because Delcourt is a book publisher and Comixology is the digital. So I'm assuming that there is a print version of these somewhere. Because they give you a category of best webcomic. The winner is Crisis Zone by Simon Hasselman. www.instagram.com/simon.hanselman. BFF by Clement C. Fabre, Joseph Safadien, and Thomas Cadiene. Translation by Emma Wilson. www.webtoonfactory.com. And again, the rest of the list, I'm not going to spell it all out. DPS Only by Vel at Tapas. And again, there's the address on the screen. The Isle of Elsie by Alec Longstreth. www.isleofelsie.com. You can go to comics, or whatever, you'll find it. And The Kiss Bet by Ingrid Ochoa. www.webtoons.com. It's a romance comic. And The Middle Age by Steve Conley at middleagecomic.com. My thoughts, Middle Age is the only nominee I'm that familiarized with, so it won by default. I don't have too much more to say about it, but Middle Age comic is being collected on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and you can support the Middle Age over there as well. The Spirit of Retailer Award was won by the Laughing Ogre in Columbus, Ohio this year. The store's been around for decades. The reputation is solid. I have no problem with them being nominated or awarded. Now, are there books or creators who got snubbed this year? Well, the fact is that the crowdfunding scene is not represented here at all. And that's an issue that I believe the Eisners and the industry as a whole are going to have to address in very short order, as that market is expanding and booming right now. Since I can't remember which crowdfunded books came out when, I can't cite a list of possible nominations, not to mention the fact that I haven't read all the stuff I've bought from the crowdfunded market yet. But I would, like, Ron Randall Strecker would rank high on my list, but I haven't read it. But I think right now, maybe part of the reason is the whole Comicsgate mess. And we know that Van Sciver or somebody of that ilk would probably get awarded it, at this point in time, and they don't want to do that. The industry doesn't want to acknowledge him or anything like that. So would they block the Comicsgaters? Probably. But not everybody uses crowdfunding as a Comicsgater. So what are they going to do? That's a pretty big mess right now. But it is something that we need to address, and we need to add into the Eisners and into other comics awards, because crowdfunding and comics that are on print on demand through Indie Planet or Lulu.com or some of these other books deserve to be considered. And if, I don't know what the qualification status would be, and those things have to be negotiated and figured out, but they have to be there. Otherwise, we're not really representing the whole of comics. And I don't think people want to, I think with the popularity of what's going on with the digital webcomics, and I think what's happened with crowdfunding, I think it's pretty much an inevitability that it's going to happen. It's just, how are they going to go about doing it? As far as books or creators that were in the down market that I think got overlooked or snubbed, I think we already covered Nora K. Jemisin and Far Sector. And there are other books I would have nominated in place of what was nominated, but I'd be here for 3 or 4 more hours discussing it all. And we've been on for over an hour, almost now, an hour and a half, 14 minutes roughly. Maybe I'll come back and do a part 2 to discuss more books that should have at least been nominated. But I don't really think that needs to be done right now. And that pretty much covers the Eisner Awards this year. Nobody popped in to give other opinions from the people that I invited. I didn't expect them to be honest. Not anybody's fault. Things have been going kind of crazy for everybody this month. People are trying to get to conventions now, because there's like conventions going on all the time now again, and people are trying to get scheduled and go to those shows and get out there in the world and make some money again, because they've been kind of, for the last year and a half, or a little over a year, maybe a year and a half, they haven't been making money because of the COVID situation. So I understand that that's part of the problem there. And the other situation was someone had to go get medical attention. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully my kitty's okay. There's a perch right at the top of my staircase, and he just jumped up too high, or was sleeping and tilted the wrong way and fell down the stairs. I'm just glad he wasn't hurt too bad, but or at least he doesn't seem to be. But it's pretty bad, scary hearing that crash. So, what's going on next week and the rest of this week? Well, I may or may not have a live draw tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. I have to take care of some business stuff with my father, getting some medicine for him. We were supposed to get it today, but they don't have it right till tomorrow now. Go figure. tomorrow night, we'll be reviewing 3 out of the 4 books that I planned on reviewing. We're reviewing The Fictional Man by Al Ewing, Sea Daughters and Sun Daughters by Amy Gooden, and Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor. Didn't have time to read Questland by Terry Vaughan, but we will get to that at a future date. And then Saturday we'll have a huge vault sale, and all the artwork that I have gotten done for the last 4-6 weeks or so will be up online for sale. So I'll be putting that together and getting that ready for Saturday. That is what's left for this week. On Monday next week will be our normal comics news and reviews. Tuesday we will have preview reviews where I go through the previews catalog that we just got this week, and I'll let you know what I'm going to be ordering or what I think is worth noticing. And then Wednesday will be our regular What Did You Get This Week. Thursday next week will be my normal Friday night feature will be on Thursday next week, because on Friday of next week, I have guest creators coming in to do the Thursday night chat on Friday, because they're available only on Friday this upcoming week. So I will have guests to talk about their book. And let me see here. I gotta check something here. Okay, there's that. I want to make sure I have the right person mentioned before I say anything of who it is going to be. Nope, it's not that one. It's the other one. No. Okay. I'll find them. But it's like the Bardic Verses or something like that is what it's called, if I'm mistaken. It's if I remember correctly. So that'll be what we'll be discussing Friday next week, is a live interview about their Kickstarter and their book. Okay, so that's what's going on for next week or so. Next week or a week and a half. So we will see you guys tomorrow at 9 p.m. for certain for the book reviews, and hopefully a live draw as well earlier in the day. But I can't promise you the live draw tomorrow because I may be out and about with my dad taking care of business. So hopefully we'll see what goes on. And so, if you want to check out other works from me, you can buy The Wingman, Art of Louis Brighthaven, Volume 1. It is my 48-page art book that was released in July 2011. It's black and white, 8.5 by 11, has over 50 images, original artwork dating from my early career, starting in the mid-'80s up to the time it was published in July 2011. It is $9.95 plus shipping, that makes it $20, or a personalized sketch for $15, plus shipping, making it $25. For those who don't know what that personalized sketch looks like, where did the book go? I just had it here. What did I do with it? That's what I did with it. It might be a head sketch like this Deadpool, or it could be something else, your choice. You tell me what you want drawn, as long as it's not nudity or gore or something like that. I'm pretty open-minded. And I will draw your sketch live on the show if you want. If you are interested in that. You go to PayPal to Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com and order subject Wingman book. If you have need to get a hold of me on Facebook, you can reach me at Louis.BrightRaven, on Twitter at LouisBrightRaven2. You can see more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You're watching Quoth the Raven, Louis Brighthaven on YouTube and Facebook, but if you want to watch the replays, if you want to watch the archived videos for the last 3 seasons of Quoth Raven, it's all on YouTube. You can email me if you have commission questions or other questions you want to ask me that you want me to answer on the show. Quoth the Raven LBR72 at gmail.com. And if I don't get back to you, either speaking to you on the show itself or via email, try lewisbartraven@yahoo.com. We've already gone through the regular schedule. Again, tomorrow will be genre night. I review the 3 books. Saturday will be a vault sale. Monday, comics news and reviews. Tuesday, because every month, once we get to our previews, I do previews on Tuesday. We'll review previews next week. Wednesday will be what did you get this week. Thursday, next week will be the genre night because Roundtable Talk will be Friday next week due to the schedules of my guests. And again, Saturday and Sunday. Next week, Saturday and Sunday, I will not be on Live Draw because I need to take a break after all this craziness is going on for the next week and a half. So if you liked this video or you think others might, then please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get support from this channel. As always, I thank you for your support and thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.